and I was thinking, I could do some like really subversive stuff. I could slip some stuff in that Wizards of the Coast doesn't want on their channel, and be like, suck it, you got to deal with it.
Welcome to the Chaacter Sheet, comicbook.com's official home for all things tabletop and fantasy. My name is Christian Hoffer, and today I am joined by a very special guest. I am joined by you have heard his voice, you have probably seen him in action. I'm talking with Khary Payton. Khary Payton. Whoa, wow. Can't talk today. How are you doing today, Khary?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Don't sweat. My name makes everybody nervous. It's like it's the first time you have to say it out loud. My dad lived 73 years and still didn't quite get it right. So don't feel bad.
Well, I've heard your name a lot because I've been watching you play tabletop RPGs for what seems like 5, 6, 7 years, going back to your guest stints on Critical Role. So my first question for you is how long have you been playing tabletop RPGs? Has this been like a long thing, or?
No, I haven't been playing it. I played it for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months before I did Critical Role, and I started playing because of Matt Mercer and Liam O'Brien. They were talking to me about it after sessions. We would, I kind of, I think I saw something about them playing, doing Critical Role and posting it online, and I was like, what are you guys doing? What is this? And they were like, oh, it's Dungeons and Dragons. I was like, oh man. I was kind of interested in that when I was a kid, but there was nobody to play with really, and so I never got into it when I was a kid, and I just started asking them more about it, and they said, and I was like, maybe I should play with my kids. That seems like something and they were really encouraging about it, and I had a lot of fun playing with my kids, and I would tell them about what we were doing, and my kids were pretty young. They were like, my daughter was 5 or something like that, and we were building their characters and doing our first little campaign, and so I had to change a lot of the scary stuff to kind of cutesy things, and we were having fun with that, and then I don't know, one day they said, so you want to come play with us? And that's what it was. I'd been doing at that point The Walking Dead for maybe a year and a half, and I just hadn't seen anybody in a while. It was hard to get in the booth. I was working. I felt like on my own a lot. In the booth by myself. And so when I saw those guys, they just asked what I was up to, and I think I was finally not doing anything. And they said, do you want to come and play? And I was just dying to do something a little different. So yeah.
And so now here we are. So you've only been playing for a few years. You kind of hopped into it because of Critical Role, and now you have, not only, are you appearing on multiple D&D shows, all for this new D&D Adventures, Plex channel, and, so what, I guess my first question on all this is what were the big differences between coming in, doing Critical Role, and doing something like Encounter Party, which obviously season versus a guest stint, but what was the big differences there besides the length of the whole thing?
Yeah, what were the big differences? The cool thing about playing D&D is that the experience is incredibly freeing to me. Mm-hmm. I felt like I just know the guys at Critical Role. I've known those guys for years when I was playing, and so that felt very easy just to come in. I kind of quickly forgot that there were cameras there at all, and I was just having fun with some friends. I was just having fun with friends of mine, and when they approached me to do Encounter Party, I was, I don't know, I didn't know what to expect. It felt like more of a corporate production kind of thing, and so I was like, I was not sure what to make of it at first, and then uh, I was like, I'm not doing anything, and maybe I could do something fun. And I just love to play D&D, and I just don't get a chance very often, to play. And I was kind of dying to play, and I was like, they're gonna pay me to play, I'll play, you know. And I was thinking, I could do some like really subversive stuff, I could slip some stuff in that Wizards of the Coast doesn't want on their channel, and be like, suck it, you got to deal with it. You know what I mean? I had all of this stuff that I wanted to like slip in that, hopefully, that I could feel like I was sticking it to the man. But then I met, and like all of the people from the counterparty, and they are, they started on a podcast, just like in Brian's living room, just hoping, to kind of start something themselves. And I quickly realized that this was more of a mom and pop operation than I thought. They just happened to, have some beautiful nerds, at Wizards who were like who like understood that these guys, are just playing for the love of it. And so we played like a one-off. I had a couple of coffees with Andrew Krug, who lives around the corner from me, and it just seemed really at home real quick. Yeah. I feel like, and so all of my subversive stuff that I was trying to slip in, I started just telling them, because I was like, you guys want to do this subversive stuff too, and all of a sudden it didn't feel like I had to hide anything, and I could just I could play this, for the love of the game and for the the love of the character. I have a friend, Todd Stashwick, who's the new captain on the Picard, series.
Yeah.
And, 12 Monkeys and all of that. Anyway, he's a beautiful man, but he's played a whole lot more D&D than me, and he laughs at me because when I create a character, it's like I literally like, have this thing, trying to form it, for 9 months in my belly. You know what I mean? And he's like, just throw the character out there and do something, man. But for me, I'm just like, no, I have nurtured this into a beautiful, and it's such a big deal for me to create a new character and put it out there, and the opportunity to do like a long campaign. I still feel like I missed so many opportunities playing with the guys at Critical Role, and my character Shakäste that we created. I love him so much, and look forward to do more with that. But I was really jonesing to do like a long campaign, that I could really kind of delve into the character. But I don't know, to answer your initial question, I thought it would be a lot more different, but it all felt so organic, just building Shakäste with Matt Mercer, was this freeing experience, and then doing the same with Brian to build Tolo character, and even calling Brian back weeks after we had initially built the character, and I'm just delving into all of these books and different paths of that the character could go down, and I totally switched stuff up on him right at the last minute, because I was like I was wrong, I found the perfect thing, this is gonna be it, and of course he's got to change up so much in his timeline. I really threw him a curve, but it was beautiful to be able to work with people who just wanted to tell a great story, and at the end of the day, that's really the most important thing. Great storytellers, people who are fun to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with Tolo, I did want to talk really briefly about Tolo because there was a big reveal that came out in the first season,
Mhm.
and that is that Tolo is, a transgender character.
Yeah, yeah.
What went into the decision to make Tolo transgender? Was there a specific reason why, or did you just think that was a natural extension, or did you just want to see more trans characters in tabletop?
Yeah, yeah, all of that, all of that. My son came out as transgender years ago, and I just wanted to represent, you know, um, him and people like him. To me, Dungeons and Dragons is about being you know being able to use your imagination to be your best self in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. You know what I mean? And 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 when my son was coming out as transgender, he revealed to us that he spent a lot of lonely nights, not understanding what was going on inside of him. And and I feel like I'm a pretty, progressive sort of parent, when it comes to like, accepting, your child and trying to, really support them in whatever they're going through. And 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 I had no idea. I had no idea that my kid was going through this. I mean, to me, he was a tomboy. And I was like, okay, this is my kid. He's a tomboy. He's gonna do boy things, but he's not. And I can get my head around that. And I feel like when he came out as transgender, it was like the Sixth Sense movie. It was like he started to speaking of my kids, here's another one. Hey buddy. We were talking about I was just talking about the loneliness that my son was feeling when he was trying to figure out who he was, why he was different from
Mhm.
everybody else. And um and um and he kind of stumbled upon this transgender definition, and came home and told his mom, and was like, I think I'm transgender. I think I was shooting The Walking Dead. I was in Georgia at the time. And um and uh his mom called me, and we talked about it. When I came back home, we just started dealing with it. And as he started expressing himself more, there was just this sadness and this loneliness, and it was a journey that he was on.
Yeah.
And so this was at the forefront of my mind when I was building Tolo. And I was just thinking about why would someone be going on a journey in their life, and there was something about Carter, my son, saying that when he would go to sleep every night hoping that he would wake up a boy, and he was upset because every day that he would wake up, he would just know that it wasn't going to happen, because he said only magic could do that. And I was like, I'm doing Dungeons and Dragons. I get to tell a story and I get to talk about my son being magic. That there's something magical about you, the way that you are. You know, and
Yeah.
so and I thought it was a really important opportunity to say that, to my son and kids and adults who are just figuring this out for themselves. I have a friend who's an adult. He's like 50 years old, and realizing that, oh man, you know what? I think this is a reason that I've struggled all my life. I didn't understand, who I was in my own mind. And so I just wanted someone to watch this and feel less alone,
That's
is at the end of the day. And yeah, and so that was the main thing that I didn't want to tell Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro and all of that. And turns out everybody was really cool about it. I
yeah.
was as I slowly started working with them, I was like, I think these guys get it, you know.
Yeah.
And you just don't want to get shut down. I wasn't going to do it if they weren't going to let me do it.
Mhm.
I was going to do it. Kind of no matter what anybody said, just because I felt it was so important. But it turns out that everybody was really cool about it, and even as we did the reveal, there's just been so much goodwill. I've talked to so many uh, transgender people, parents of transgender people, teachers of transgender people, that just this really spoke to, and that to me was the most important thing. I think it speaks to everybody. Honestly, I think I built a great character, and I think we're telling a great story, and I think it speaks to anybody who's felt alone or kind of a misfit, you know. But especially for that crew, I wanted them to feel like, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm just learning who I am. That was really important to me. So
Do
yeah, that's where it came out.
do you mind if I ask, has your son watched Encounter Party?
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah. I showed him, uh, way back when that particular bit was getting edited, and they were asking me questions about how we wanted to do it, and I showed him, and and he was delighted, and like the next day he was like he said exactly what my feeling was. He was like, Dad, the cool thing is somebody's gonna watch this and realize they're not alone, and it was like, he got it. He was just excited to be a part of it, and he had a different reaction. It's funny that when there are so many people who watched kind of me telling the story of Tolo, and revealing that aspect of himself, and they got really emotional. And Carter, when Tolo raged, Carter laughed because he laughed. He was with kind of like, yeah, it was like that's it, and I just love that, that it was familiar,
Mhm.
to him, that he was like, oh yeah, yeah, I feel that experience, and so I felt like, okay, what he was telling me, I'm imparting, that meant so much. That meant
That
so much.
that's fantastic. So we
Yeah.
probably only have time for, like, one more question.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
sorry, dude. I talk so
no,
so
no!
much.
This was honest to God, that is an amazing story, and I'm really happy that you shared that with us. My last question is, you've been a voice actor for, you know, well, I don't know, 20, 30 years, it seems like.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. It's been a
and,
while.
obviously, a lot of people in the industry, and it seems like there is a trend of, voice actors jumping into these actual plays, jumping into tabletop RPGs and stuff like that. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that there seems to be so much crossover between the industry and this new, form of entertainment that has been like building up?
Well, I think Critical Role has a lot to do with it, because we're it's kind of like friends of friends of friends.
Uh-huh.
We all work together. But I think that we tend to have an affinity for it because we've been weirdly training for it.
Yeah,
The amount that we get in the booth, and it's like take on this character that doesn't look like you, that doesn't move like you, act like you, or anything, but take on that character and give it voice.
yeah,
That's so much about kind of the actual play of in D&D and tabletop. And so I feel like we've been weirdly training, for years, so that's why when I sat down at the table, whenever I sat down at the table, it doesn't feel foreign. It feels like something I've done for a long, long time. And so I think that's what lends itself to so many times I get in the booth, voiceover booth, and they're like, you know what, let's just play around. If this, I feel like I get in trouble with live action stuff because I improv a lot, because like when I do Teen Titans or Teen Titans Go, we improv so much
Mhm.
that I forget that writers get mad when you change their words. I was like, I was like, I'm pretty sure I got fired from a show because I was just like riffing, and they were like, "What's this guy doing?" And I was like, "Hey, we're having fun. What do you mean I'm fired?" You know what I mean? And, and so I feel like the voiceover, the way that I've been directed, and it's a lot of kind of mercurial, constantly evolving, improving, changing it, making it right on the fly, and and that's what you do in actual play, and
Mhm.
that's the beauty and excitement of it to me, is that I'm writing and performing, you know, in real time,
Yeah.
and it's just so exciting.
I do have one final bonus question since this is a comicbook.com platform. I
Come on.
have to ask, which of your characters do you think would be the most likely to play Dungeons and Dragons? Like the various characters that you've, depicted either, on, voiced or, played in live action. Which
I
character do you
mean,
think it would be?
oh, I think Cyborg would be the obvious choice, because he was my first voiceover job, so it was the first one that was like, he's the closest to me.
Yeah.
If there's such thing as a more exuberant version of myself, I think Cyborg would be that. The cyborg that I'm most accustomed to playing anyway.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I would say Cyborg. Although I think it would be fun to watch Rafiki play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
He's already, he's rolling the bones. He's like, I think I'm natural 20. you know,
Amazing.
that would
Right.
be awesome.
Well, we could talk all day long, but I gotta let you go. So thank you very much for appearing. As always, be sure to check out Khary. He's doing all the D&D adventure shows. He's doing the
Absolutely.
counterparty, but he's also appearing on the other new programming that's on D&D Adventures. And also be sure to
Yes.
hit those like and subscribe buttons and all that stuff. So
Absolutely. Make sure you check out the Fast Channel D&D
yeah,
channel that's on. You can find it on Freevee and Plex, and we are doing Encounter Party 6 p.m., 9 p.m. on every Tuesday and Friday, and you can get it on demand on Plex. You got 13 episodes. You can binge that crap, and then
yeah.
then come online and tell me about it, because I love that. I love that, and I'm having so much fun. Um, I really want people to see that, because the twists and turns of this story, I just think are awesome. So
It
come check it
it's
out.
it's a great show. It's a great show. Check it out.